Hey, what's up, everybody? And in today's news dose, we do actually have a lot to go over. It is kind of sad to say, but it's the end of an era. The Xbox 360 is officially on its way out. And I mean, this is one of the most impactful consoles ever made, though I will say this much. Xbox has handled this situation about as perfectly as you possibly can with this type of thing. And I'll explain why here in a bit and give you the lowdown on exactly what you need to know about what's happening. Also, new PC gaming handheld leaked out online, images and everything, and it actually looks pretty good. I'm quite interested in this one personally. Then we got another delay to talk about, which coincides with something else that happened earlier this week, though truthfully, this really is the best thing for gamers because gaming is going to be pure insanity this October. So again, there's a lot to get into today, and with that, let's just go and get things started off with Starfield. This has been one of the most anticipated releases in years with this just constant build-up. I mean, the teaser alone got like 18 plus million views, but especially with it being an Xbox first-party title now, there's a lot of eyes on its reviews. Will Starfield meet its lofty expectations and continue Bethesda's rich heritage with big, open-world, single-player RPGs? I mean, whether it's been with the Elder Scrolls or the Fallout series, they have consistently put out some mega hits in the past, and now we'll kind of see if they can follow that up with their first new IP in decades. Now, I do also understand that there's some concern out there with certain reviewers possibly tearing Starfield down simply because it is an Xbox console exclusive, but we will get our answers on August 31st. That's when the embargo date ends, and critics are now able to download Starfield today. This also puts a rumor to rest that dropped earlier in the week. One outlet claimed that review codes wasn't going to be sent out until August 31st, and a lot of people saw that as concerning, but just as Tom Henderson quickly corrected, that rumor was indeed false, which was proven today. Now, since we are on the topic of Starfield, though, just as a bit of a side note here, do be warned that Starfield's story has leaked out online, and certain people on social media are trying to ruin the game for others by spoiling it. So if you are excited about Starfield, just kind of be careful out there. It might be time for lockdown, and it might be best to just go ahead and avoid the comment section for Starfield-related topics on social media. Now, we also got a new look at the upcoming Lenovo gaming handheld PC dubbed the Legion Go. This leaked out online thanks to Windows Central, and it essentially looks like a mix between the Steam Deck and the Nintendo Switch. It does have a trackpad, much like the Steam Deck, which is a very welcome addition. I think that is perfect for these PC gaming handhelds, especially something that's using Windows. It's not exactly an intuitive operating system for touch controls, but the handles ergonomically also has a similar design to the Steam Deck, but unlike other PC gaming handhelds, it has detachable controllers similar to the Nintendo Switch. You can pop them right off and set it up like a tablet with a kickstand on the back. I don't know how useful that in itself will be in terms of gameplay. I never really used this on a Switch personally, but the thing that I do like about those detachable controllers is the fact that they're easily replaceable. You can't really say the same thing when it comes to the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally. If a button messes up on either one of those consoles, well, you're just kind of on your own. You're either going to need to tear them apart and fix the problem yourself or send them in for repair. So that's a pretty big benefit of having those detachable controllers. You won't have to deal with that type of problem. You could go out and replace them years from now if that's something that you want to do. The Legion Go, though, it also appears to be a pretty beefy console, and sources have told Windows Central it might have an 8-inch screen. And to just kind of put that in perspective, the Steam Deck, the Switch OLED, and the ROG Ally all have a 7-inch display. So 8 inches is big for a handheld console. Now, we actually had a very similar conversation about the Switch successor just a few weeks back. That's also rumored to have an 8-inch display. But if the Legion Go truly is sporting an 8-inch display, well, you'll kind of get an early look as to what that will look like in person. One other interesting aspect to the Legion Go, though, is that it does have side buttons on its controllers. I've not really seen something like this before, but the idea isn't all that bad because there are some PC games out there that makes use of a lot of buttons, especially when it comes to MMOs. So the Legion Pro might actually be a good option for that type of game. Maybe you want to play Final Fantasy XIV on the go, and well, those extra buttons could be very beneficial for the Legion Go. Either way, with the Legion Pro's images now leaking out online, I'd imagine its official reveal is probably imminent by this point, and honestly, I kind of like the way this thing looks. Now it's really all just about, from a spec standpoint, can it offer something better than the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally for an affordable price? I think by this point, the best thing that Lenovo could do to kind of separate itself from the competition is offer similar power with a competitive price point, but include a better battery. That right now is the big issue kind of plaguing these PC gaming handhelds. They die just so quick, but if Lenovo can fix that problem, there might actually be a place for it on the market. Now, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we will get an official reveal here soon, but the PC gaming handheld market really is just in its infancy stage, and from what it looks like, we're probably going to see quite the evolution here in the coming years. I think this might really just be the beginning. Let's go talk about this Xbox situation, though, because yes, unfortunately, it's the end of an era. Microsoft today announced that they're closing the Xbox 360 storefront. I mean, growing up with the Xbox 360, I was a teenager during the 360 era, and, you know, in a way, it's sad to see its closure after all these years, but however, it's not really a big problem like we've seen with other store closures. I'll come back to that here in just a second, but you know, just sticking on the topic with, you know, the impact of the 360, I do believe that the Xbox 360 was incredibly impactful as it really introduced an entire generation of gamers to online gaming with games like Halo, Gears of War, and Call of Duty. The rise of console online gaming can kind of be tracked back to the Xbox 360 and Xbox Live Gold. I think it was just such a magical and innovative stretch in gaming history, and the Xbox 360 in many ways paved the way. There's a lot of memories wrapped up in this console, and I'd imagine many of you all probably feel the same way. But the reason I said its store closure isn't really a problem is because Microsoft is handling this about as perfectly as they possibly can. So here's the 3 key details that you need to know. One is that if you want to purchase any Xbox 360 digital title on their storefront, you'll have until July 29th of 2024, which is when it will officially close. So they're giving fans ample time to purchase games. That should not be a major issue. Then the second detail that you need to know here is that yes, you'll still be able to play any game that you've purchased, including its DLC, post-closure. And then lastly, and I know this is the one that fans always kind of worry about, you will be able to re-download all your purchases post-closure. So for the time being, you don't have to worry about storage or anything like that. You'll be good to go. So they really are handling the finer details incredibly well here. But you know what this really showcases is the effort that Xbox has made with their backwards compatibility program. Last generation, they worked incredibly hard to bring original Xbox and Xbox 360 games to the Xbox One, and that's continued right on with the Xbox Series. In fact, backwards compatible games look better than what they did originally, thanks to the enhancements that the Xbox Series can offer with things like HDR and better resolution. I was actually playing Conquer Live and Reloaded the other day because I needed some footage for my channel, and I mean, it looks fantastic on the Xbox Series. I mean, we've been saying it for years, but Xbox's back compat team are true technical wizards, and all that hard work that they put in is still paying off with today's news. Some people might want to give Xbox a hard time with certain things, but they have market-leading legacy support, and that is clear as day. There's no other console that does it better than Xbox, and the Xbox 360 store closure once again puts that on center stage. We've kind of seen the pushback on other store closures, but this time, it just doesn't really feel like that big of a deal because Xbox seems prepared. However, even with all that said, it is important to keep in mind that there are still some digital Xbox 360 games that will disappear forever unless they get ported over. And if you're interested in looking at that list, I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the description below. That way, if you want to buy any of those games, you will have a list that you can easily reference. Again, you will have until July 29th of 2024 to buy any game you want to add to your library. Moving on, though, another game released in October is seeing some movement. A few days back, Assassin's Creed Mirage moved their release date to October 5th instead of the 12th. And now we're also seeing something similar for Alan Wake 2. It was originally set for October 17th, but it's now been delayed by an additional 10 days, meaning that it will now release on October 27th. Now, the reason that this is happening is because October is stacked, and I mean absolutely stacked. It is a very busy month with games like Assassin's Creed Mirage, Spider-Man 2, Forza Motorsports. You have Mario Wonder, Detective Pikachu Returns, the Metal Gear Solid Collection, The Lords of the Fallen, and of course, Alan Wake 2. It is an insane month, to put it lightly, and that's exactly what Remedy alluded to. In their press release, this is what they said. October is an amazing month for game launches, and we hope this date shift gives more space for everyone to enjoy their favorite games. So yeah, they're not being coy about it here. They understand that it's a hectic month, though. That does kind of beg the question, will a 10-day delay really make all that much of a difference in the grand scheme of things? Truthfully, I feel like November or December would be a better time to release. I mean, yeah, you have Call of Duty, which, of course, that's huge. But outside of that, it's a lot more calm than October, and I think that is pretty clear. I mean, the fear just kind of becomes with all of these mega hits releasing during the exact same month. Will something unfortunately get buried among the madness? I mean, I sure hope not, but I will say this much. 2023, for us gamers, continues to be one of the best years in gaming history. It's been a fun time month in and month out. Speaking of Call of Duty a moment ago, though, they did give us an update from Modern Warfare 3. They revealed its single-player trailer, which is actually quite impressive, and it will have open combat missions for the first time that provides players with more choice and more freedom. More or less, it sounds like it's set up like a sandbox type of game, and each playthrough can be completely different for this exact reason. I'm actually quite curious to see how this will turn out because Call of Duty has been, just so scripted in the past, but this opens its gameplay to so many different elements that it might be a good change of pace. As for its multiplayer, though, they revealed a ton of new details. It will launch with 16 completely remastered maps from the original Modern Warfare 2, and to me, I mean, that's actually a major win. I feel like Modern Warfare 2 to this date has some of the best maps the series has to offer. So, to see them all come back with a fresh coat of paint in 2023, I'm all for that. Now, maybe that's a little because of nostalgia. Modern Warfare 1 and 2 was kind of my jam back in the day, but there are more maps coming. They noted that they have 12 new 6 vs 6 maps planned for post-release, so you are going to get some new maps as well. They'll launch alongside each new season. There's also going to be 4 ground war maps as well. So its competitive multiplayer will have a ton of content, and this is in addition to an overhauled movement system. You can now slide cancel, reload cancel, fire immediately after sliding, and they've really put a lot of effort into a more fluid movement system. They also upped your health to 150, which we'll see how that plays out. I think that's going to be one of the bigger changes that players may or may not like. Also, for you zombie fans, they officially announced its new open-world zombie mode. This is being developed by Treyarch, and it is the largest zombie map to date. It supports up to 24 players, and you can play with 4-player squads. So again, I mean, you hear all that, and there's a ton of content here. I know there's been some controversy about this year's of Call of Duty and whether or not it's just glorified DLC. But truth be told, there's very few games out there that launches with this much content. The fact that they can release it with 16 maps, 12 more that's coming, a single-player campaign with a new style of gameplay, and then also on top of that, the series' biggest form of zombies yet. That's an impressive amount of content when you compare it to other big AAA releases, so I'll just kind of ask you all, how are you feeling right now? Is it worthy of that premium $70 price tag, or do you still think that this is just glorified DLC? Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though. We're asked you all, if you could only have one choice, would you prefer online multiplayer or local co-op split screen? And the results here were quite clear. Online multiplayer was the runaway winner. Now, to be fair, local split screen still got a decent portion of votes, so you can see it has its own crowd. But I think you can kind of see why developers prioritize online play most of the time. Sadly, local split screen has become a bit of a niche feature throughout the years. It's always a great bonus to have, and I mean, it can bring a lot of joy if you have a good setting to play in. But I think in today's world, online play has become the go-to for most people. As I said yesterday, a lot of people don't have the privilege of being around other people all the time to play locally, and even if they are, their playtime is dependent on that group of people, whereas online play, you can do that anytime you want. I think if anything, though, this just kind of brings up the topic of Mario Wonder. That game doesn't appear to have online play, and that's really too bad considering that's where a lot of people play multiplayer at, as shown with the poll results here. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.